All right, fine. I'll be a gracious host. How you doing?
Little Mermaid is the scariest Disney movie by far, though.
Why the hell is Ace Blade in your Kickstarter?
Some comics. I'm getting controversial today. We're gonna get controversial today with.
My proudest moment is this interview and being able to talk to you two.
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, Tours Comics in collaboration with Fourth Wall Productions. What?
Byron,
What?
light the beam? Light the beam? Like, what happened? What happened to light the beam?
I really can't believe you stopped this show to troll me on. F this, I'm out.
It's okay. The Lakers are in 8th right now. Okay, you can continue.
You really stopped the beginning of the show for that? I was in my flow, and you just.
I had to. That's how we got to start the show. Light the beam? No? Okay.
It's gonna be one of those shows today. All right. Can I do my intro, please?
Right, go ahead. You can finish now. Go ahead.
I don't even want to do it anymore. I don't want to do it anymore. All right, fine. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, Tours Comics in collaboration with Fourth Wall Productions. Well, maybe not with Fourth Wall Productions after today, but respectfully brings to you the 111th episode of the Four Tales podcast. I'm your host, Kyron Silva. Across the way for a short amount of time is the Orchid biographer of Ace Blade, Denny J. Quick, and together we're your 2 award-winning blurred comic creators here to help you find your next favorite comic. We are live on the Age the Geekdom Network by Facebook, Twitter, Twitch, and YouTube. So if you're listening and watching us live, thank you for your support. But don't forget to like, subscribe, share, and review this podcast because all your positive reviews, interactions help us reach a bigger audience. I do want to start off by saying I want to apologize for last week for us not having a show. Family emergency. Yeah, okay, Facebook. Seriously, literally hit me with I'm going to let you talk in a minute.
But like the beam, though? No.
No.
Well, the playoffs are coming, so this is going to be a contentious time for basketball fans.
God, it'll be hilarious if your team fights my team. Like
it'll be good. That week and a half be very good, very good.
Anyways, we do want to apologize for last week's episode for not being here. I had a family emergency pop up, and Danny was already scheduled to not be a part of it. What's up, Sean? So I didn't want to apologize to Madeline, who was going to be our guest, and to Fee for going to be our guest host for taking the time out, and apologize. We're going to have you guys back on in the future at some point. Now I'm going to ask you something.
Mm-hmm.
And I know you don't know the reason why I'm asking you this, but I'm going to ask you anyways. Do you know what today is?
Today?
Yes.
Do you know what today is?
Mm-hmm.
Is it our anniversary?
It is.
I don't know why that just popped in my brain.
I thought you really knew it. That's why you're singing.
I legit did not know that today was our anniversary. But then as I started singing that, I was like, wait a minute, it's been, what is this, 4 years, 3 years?
3 years. 3 years today was our first.
Today.
That's wild.
That's wild. That's crazy. Happy anniversary, brother.
Thank you. Yeah. I'm excited I can't believe we're still doing this after 3 years. I did not think it was 3 years in we'd still be doing this.
If this is my last episode, I'm happy that we were able to make it 3 years. A lot of people
must be your last episode, I can tell.
It might be. Light the beam?
God, I hate you so much.
I love you too, man.
I'm glad I got to do this for 3 years, and hopefully we can do it longer. It's been a fun time. So
absolutely.
But yeah, you ready for today's show?
I am.
Yeah.
We got a great guest on, man.
We do. Do you want to introduce him? Because you were ready for him. You were ready this morning.
I'm always ready for Mal. Mal is great. Mal actually met Malachi at dang, what show was that? HBC UConn.
Yeah, 2 years ago.
Yeah, 2 years ago. He popped up, and me and Morgan were there. Just a delightful person altogether.
Mhm.
I stole his style, and he stole it back from me with the nice purple beanie on. The man, the myth, the legend, Storm in the flesh. Malachi Bailey, welcome to the show.
Now,
Thank
wait,
you.
now before Malachi talks, the reason why I asked, well, I know you were ready, and I'm going to show this to the family that's watching.
Uh-oh.
So normally, behind the scenes thing, when we watch our show. Whoa, what is that noise?
That's not me.
Okay, it's passed.
I heard it.
What was that?
I have no idea what that was.
Was that someone breaking wind?
It wasn't.
It wasn't me.
It wasn't me.
Anyway,
Indigestion.
Who's gassy today?
it's gonna be one of them shows today. All right. So, anyways, normally when we do a show, everybody knows that we have Danny's quick takes at the end of the show, and normally Danny will send me the quick takes anywhere from 10 to 5 minutes before the show starts. There have been times Danny has sent me quick takes in the middle of the show, and I'll be like, all right, whatever. But the reason why I mention this is everybody needs to look at this. This is what I got at 8:30 this morning. 8:22 this morning. Danny was ready.
I was ready.
Danny was ready with his quick takes already.
Well, fortunately, Mal and I are more familiar with each other, so I didn't have to do as much research to find the dirt. I already knew what the dirt was.
Oh,
I already knew what the dirt was to find. So
squeaky clean.
when we get the quick takes, we gonna let it all loose. We gonna let it all loose.
So that's why I knew this was going to be a good show today. So Malachi, thank you for being on. We really appreciate you. For anybody that isn't familiar with you and your work, give us a quick overview about who you are, what you're doing, and things like that.
Well, first and foremost, I want to thank you guys for inviting me on today's show. It's a huge honor. I see my business partner / brother / confidant Brian is in the comment section, and yes, isn't it Storm herself? He's so punny. So, who am I? Who's Malachi? So I've been a huge comic book supporter, fan, fanatic, whatever you want to call it. Blurred, which is more popular in the last 5 years, because before that there was nothing, right?
Yeah.
So I've been a huge fan. I've always loved comic books, and in 2016, I released my first novel, which is called Her. African woman who is immortal. She is reborn into each life with a new power set, new face, and when she reaches her current manifestation, something horrible, goes wrong, and she doesn't know who she is anymore. But if you're that long-lived, of course you're going to have some enemies along the way. So they see it as an opportunity to strike and make sure that her lives come to an end permanently. So I explored that premise in the first novel. I wasn't happy, with the editing process initially. So after 6 months or so, I took it off the shelves. And then my partner encouraged me to, get back out there, find an editor that would do the book some service. And I did. So I re-released the book, Her, in 2019. And at that time, I did it in October. Brian and I, we became friends probably that summer, and he purchased a book, and he liked what he saw. But in the first 5 pages, he hit me up. He's like, "Hey, so I'm putting the team together," and
He hit you with like the Samuel L. Jackson and Iron
yeah.
Man.
So I'm like, what we doing? So
I have a wingless initiative for you.
And and that's exactly what it was. I was the first person I believe that he approached, and I was honored. I was flabbergasted that he would want someone like me, who was not even doing comic books at that time, to work alongside him. So as you know, the rest is history. We did our first Kickstarter for Justice, which included the Her #0, a mini comic. We were asking for 1,500. Within 30 days, we got over $8,000, which was great. And that pretty much set like a trend for us. Each year we had the Kickstarter, we were always surpassing our goals. we were reaching out to more people, to take a look at what we were offering. By the time that I was ready to release her number one, I was able to make $10,000 on that goal of $2,500. So it's been a whirlwind these past several years. Um, I got the opportunity to see Brian a few times, at the Black Comics Day Con, in San Diego, which is hella fun. I always
It was a
have a
good
great
show.
time. And that's why I got to meet you finally, because I knew of you, Kyron, but I was like, I don't know him like that. So,
And the
and
bad thing is, we didn't get to talk because their booth was always slammed with people. I'd
yeah,
walk over there and have to like fight through a crowd to get to Mal, and I'd be like, I just want to talk to him for a second. Like, no, we selling books, but y'all like, don't talk to us right now.
he was hella busy because at the time we were doing the Air Force One's
Mhm.
Kickstarter. And so, Brian, always being Brian, we had, the action figures, we had, the sneakers, we had the t-shirts, we had, everything that you could think of. And there was a point, I want to say, maybe that Sunday when we're starting to wind down, like my eyes had glazed over. And he looked at me, he said, "You're tired." I'm like, I am exhausted. But it's a good type of exhaustion, It's something that, you put all this love into. And for people to clamor for the writing, for the
Mhm.
stories that you're putting out there, it's indescribable. So
Absolutely.
I've been very fortunate. The three of us had the pleasure, the unexpected pleasure of speaking to a celebrity. Um, what, 2 months ago now? Going on 2 months
Oh, that's
ago.
right. That's right. Yeah.
Because when I got that friend request or follow request on Instagram, I said, "This ain't him. I'm not accepting this." And, and so when I went on his page and I saw the 3 million followers, I was
Mhm.
like, maybe it is him. And so I confirmed it, and that was it. There was nothing he said for what, 2 weeks,
Yep.
and then I get him in the DMs. I was like, "This is not who I think it is." And so I did some
Wait a
research.
minute. Wait a minute. What is this? What's going
This
on?
is, this is, it's one of those
Are we
damn
going? What
spots,
was you being very sly about it? We gonna say
Oh
who it is?
yeah, so it was Colin Kaepernick. So he he
Right.
was totally in my DMs and yours too. So
Um,
that was, to be able to speak to him, who has been this revolutionary, figure, these past 7 years,
mhm.
who started the conversation about police brutality and kneeling, which was infuriating people. So it's like he's literally
It
not
still
doing
does.
anything to
Yeah.
you, So that I found that so insane. Like I would get into arguments with friends of mine who didn't. He said, "Well, it's disrespectful." I said, "Well, you saying this when they were shooting all these black people in the streets? No, so let's not."
Yeah.
So with that said, speaking to him was great. And then a month later, so there's an actor that I'm a fan of. He's been featured in Game of Thrones. He was
Oh.
Thomas Wayne in the Batman movie that came out recently. Black Sails, which is one of my favorite shows. Luke Roberts.
Mhm.
So he had posted a clip on his Instagram about a show that he was involved in called The Tourist, which is very good. So I said, okay, so you know what? Just for this clip alone, I'm going to watch this show. So I binged it, and so a couple of days later, in my DMs, and then so there's a picture that he's had of my second novel, Her
That's
Gods
right.
and Monsters. He's like, "I'm reading this because of you." So I was like, "Get out of here!"
I remember.
I was
I
like,
remember
"This is
about
crazy."
that. Too.
Mhm.
So it's been so cool. Yesterday, I had the pleasure of speaking to the Jackson State, Writers and Alliance,
Mhm.
and it's so different when you have the next generation of writers and storytellers who seek you out. And for me, it was a little emotional because I am what people will consider like a college dropout. I did not finish college, due to circumstances that were beyond my control. And then over
Mhm.
the years, it became less and less important. So for them to say, "Hey, we want you to speak to these college students. It felt full circle, um, in some ways validating. So, and that was just yesterday. So, and of course we have today's, sessions. So yes, I'm happy to be here in more ways than one.
That's
Hey, and
awesome.
we're happy that you're here too, man. Like I said, there's a lot of times in our small indie community that there's a lot of drama and stuff that goes on, and sometimes people just don't get along, and
Yeah,
sometimes justifiably. But I'll say Malachi is one of those that always brings the brightness, brings the fun and
The
the
truth.
community. And yeah, and it's always good to talk to Mal. So we're happy you're here. Like I said, we've all love supporting each other, and I'm excited to see about all the stuff that y'all do at Wingless Comics and beyond,
yeah.
and including one of the things that we're here to talk about, the Epiphany engine. I hear that you got the inside details on Epiphany engine. Because
From whom?
they don't tell me nothing because they know I'm just gonna spill it. But I hear that you got the inside knowledge of what's going on. So I want to ask, what is up with the Epiphany engine?
I don't know who told you those lies, those big fat angry lies. I'm just
Why I
a
gotta be angry?
so
Okay, let's what can you tell us about your connection with Epiphany Engine?
okay. So Epiphany Engine, from what I can recall, it was an idea that came together last summer.
Yeah.
And I want to say it was someone in it was like the Black Lords Comics group, um,
Herschel, Herschel,
Herschel Lewis, right?
Herschel Lewis, yeah.
So, like, I guess he put out a challenge, like, hey, there was the War of the Independence, which was the last, like I guess, big crossover
Mhm.
that had everybody in there, and he said, it's been a while since we had something of that magnitude. Now, fortunately, with being part of Wingless, we did do our own crossover, with Nightfall,
Yep.
and you had Ace Blade in there, he had a cool like comical dialogue exchange, with Lumberjacks, which was so cool. Um, and we were able to get a few of our colleagues to participate in our own crossover, which was actually, yeah, it was like her second appearance in comics. So for a lot of reasons, Nightfall was such an important part, in my career. So now with Epiphany Engine, which is like, I believe there's over 70 indie creators involved,
Yep.
Mhm.
right?
Yep.
Um,
And,
it's,
and
it's
and growing apparently.
yeah, because I'm like, you go in a group and you see like, okay, there's
You salty about
already so
that.
and so, and I'm like, again, okay, the more the merrier.
Danny's
So
so salty about that.
I'm not. No, I'm not. I'm just. I'm just saying. Hey, I'm happy. Like Mal said, the more the merrier.
yeah,
I'm down with people, coming in and being able to, just make the story better. So,
Yeah.
because then
absolutely.
not for nothing, like we have our hands full, you and I, with the social media aspect of it. So
Mhm.
when it
That's
comes
true.
to the editing and the storytelling, y'all got this.
Y'all
Um,
got that.
it's like, listen, I'm good. You can
Mhm.
use the nameless woman, you can use her in the
Mhm.
story, but no, let me just post about it, on social media. Hey y'all, Epiphany Engine, you better sign up, blah blah blah. So from what I gather, because okay, because I'm Brian will tell you that I am terrible with spoilers, so I want to try to make this as concise as possible.
Wait, you're terrible with spoilers? And Danny's terrible with spoilers. So they just put
Listen,
everybody who's terrible with spoilers on
listen.
the social media team.
That's the
Well,
that's that's a
That's why we're not in the editing area, because
yeah,
y'all
because we
terrible with
can't be.
spoilers.
Well, see, here's the thing. I used to be really, really like anal about spoilers. Like, don't
Mhm.
even talk about it on the day of. Um, and I would get really upset. So I remember I spoke to Brian one time, to Malachi, with social media. People are excited, you know. And now if you don't want to post about it the same day, that's understandable. But let's do it like give it a day or so. So I took that to heart. So X-Men 97, which is the hottest thing right now. Like I'm still reeling from it, but I had to do my initial reaction status that Wednesday, but I had to make it very vague in some way. So if you knew about, the source material, then you knew it was going to happen type thing.
Mhm.
But I didn't want to say a lot in the post. Now Thursday and Friday, yeah, I'm sharing memes. I'm making memes. I'm going on Twitter. I'm taking those statuses. I'm sharing that. I'm doing all of that. So I try to be respectful.
I'm sort of the opposite. I'm like, if you're not wanting to be spoiled by something, don't hop on social media.
And that's why I didn't do Twitter,
Because you
I
can't
stay
expect
off
the
Twitter.
entire universe to just say, "Hey,
Yeah.
I'm not going to talk about this for you."
Yeah.
I mean,
That's been my perspective. Y'all know I'm bad with spoilers, but also in addition to that, I think that's one of the only ways as indies that we can kind of grow our space is to talk about each other's, talk about each other's stuff. Like when Kyron, put out Saw 4, you know, even though, the part that I shared wasn't integral to the story, I wanted to at least share, some part of it with people that was out there so that if they wanted to buy it, if they didn't know about it, just like we talk about X-Men and Spider-Man and Batman and Black Panther, we got to talk about our stories too, and not we don't necessarily have to spoil them, but that's a
yeah.
way to entice people to buy those things. So
Very true.
it's a community, and like Brian said, there should be a little bit of a grace period, but it's very little with me. If
Yeah,
you
I'm
want,
not waiting a week to
you
discuss
know
it.
Oh no.
No. A new episode premiered by then.
I mean,
I don't know.
I'm not going to sit there and do a live stream as the show is
Yeah.
playing, but
Even though
Right.
people actually do that, the
yeah.
reaction videos.
Yeah,
Once
yeah.
I see them, I'll watch it on Thursday.
All right. Brian put in the chat, Epiphany Engine is a story about family, fatherhood, and the ties that bind. The love of a family could destroy the entire multiverse, and no black indie comic will ever be the same.
Thank you, Brian.
There you go, Brian, with the
That,
log line. I like it.
that's more knowledge than I had about Epiphany Engine in months at this
That's
point.
that's what
I
I'm
remember
seeing.
the images dropped early last month. We
Yeah,
saw beautiful
we've
by
seen some pretty
Chris
cool
Cross.
images. They did do the one interview with the Black Comic Lords, which was mostly vague, but they showed a lot of the images there, or a couple of the images, and talked about the lineups. I just think it's I think it's time for something like this, and I think you know, I hope that it does well, I know the purpose of it is to get people, you know.
Thank you, Brian.
I see.
I
I know
guess. I
you know he's
mean,
a writer or something, Brian. We know you.
the, the purpose is to get people interested in these characters. All
Yes.
of us have been working so hard to kind of get our work out there and to be consistent. And it's good to have one place that people can go and say, "Oh, this character looks interesting. This character looks interesting." And there's a lot of work being put into it. So I'm excited about it.
All
me
right,
too.
but let's talk about Malachi's work, though.
Absolutely.
Okay. We
All
can
right.
go back to me. I
Well, this is
mean,
episode about you, so we want
I
it to be.
mean, hashtag Leo energy. I mean, I always want to talk about me. So her involvement with Epiphany Engine, from what I'm told, it'll be a guest appearance.
Mhm.
I'm super excited about it. Um, again, I did not think I would be in a space like this, especially considering that, I've been a huge comic book fanatic, for just about 30 years. Um, I was telling a friend earlier today that I've been reading the X titles almost consistently since 1996. So it was like, I'm well versed when it comes to, these type of stories. So now that I'm in a place where not only can I tell these stories, from my cultural, perspective, you know, I can also be a part of them, from behind the scenes. I can promote these stories. I could, use my platform, to let people know, hey, if you're tired of seeing the same corn-fed, white heroes all the time, look at us. There's Ace Blade. There's Justice. There's her. There's all these characters that, or just full of all this energy. This cultural deliciousness, as I would call it, that
Delicious.
it's on par, if not better than some of the mainstream books that are out now.
Mhm.
Absolutely. When you said that you've been reading X-Men,
Yes.
are you reading the Ultimate X-Men that just dropped?
No. No.
It's
I
kind of
I
it's kind of out of continuity. It's not, kind of attached to anything.
I,
Uh,
I can't.
I think that's the point of the whole Ultimate Universe, though, isn't it?
You know what? The only two titles that have my interest from the revamped Ultimate lineup would be Black Panther
Mhm.
and Spider-Man.
Mhm.
Um, I heard amazing things about each book. Um, I'm not really crazy about Storm's redesign,
Mhm.
but it is what it is. And that's another thing that I had to come to realize. And it was a hard truth that I had to look at with an ice cold eye. This is not my IP. You
but it feels
know,
like it should be at this
I
point. It
know.
feels like
I,
please. You guys, well, Danny knows in particular. I freaking love stuff. I can't cuss. I'm keeping it
you can
PG.
cuss. Danny cusses all the time on this show.
Oh my fucking god! All right, good. So let me tell you about Storm. Like I fucking love her. All right, there's nothing she can do that will make me hate her ever in any reality. Across the multiverse. That's how much I love the character. So if there wasn't Storm, there would probably be no her because her is
Mhm.
my baby. And her was inspired by, it was inspired by Storm. Wonder Woman is another favorite of mine.
Mhm.
Inspired by my mom, my twin sister. So she is a patchwork woman. Of
Mhm.
all these influences that have shaped my life. So I took those experiences and that love and that devotion, and I crafted a story out of it. Um, when I was talking yesterday, with the Writers, Alliance, they were like, "So Malachi, you have this black woman, who is incredibly powerful, but she's held back because she doesn't know who she is.
Mhm.
Did you realize, the effect that would have on the culture?" I was like, "Well, no, I didn't," because I'm just thinking like, I have the story, so
Mhm.
I love seeing how other people interpret, the book because I'm only showing what I know. These are the influences. Like, my mom was a single mom. She raised me, my twin, and my baby brother, pretty much by herself. So when I think of a strong black woman, when I think about a woman who has sacrificed to make sure that we were fed and clothed, and we didn't leave the house, with eye crust and everything, you know, I think about my mom. So of course, when I'm designing a character who's supposed to be, the great mother, mommy is she's always in my ear whispering, she's my guardian angel. And then I have my twin who like we're so alike and we're so different at the same time. Like she's my rock and I adore her. And Tony, she doesn't fuck
twin,
around. Like she
twin. You have a twin, like a.
Yeah, like I have a twin that I'm 13 minutes older than. Yeah.
I did not know that.
I
Okay,
didn't know that either, actually.
Yeah. Well, Karen, I would expect you not to know, but Danny, we've been friends for how long now? You don't see when I post pictures of my family?
I did not know that. I did not know that. I got to pay better attention. What's going
Yeah.
on?
No, my sister, she is so the way I look at it is like she's the moon, right?
Mhm.
She's mysterious and I'm the sun.
Mhm.
If you think about, even with the Greek gods, Apollo and Artemis, right? Yeah,
Mhm.
Artemis. Yeah. So I look at her and she's been through a lot, but she's a soldier, she is a champion and I respect that. So when I need to draw strength, when I feel myself begin to falter, and especially if it's something related to the family and I'm not strong enough, I go to my twin, you know,
Mhm.
um, and unfortunately our mom passed about 15 years ago. And I felt like I was in shambles. And when my sister was able to come home from college, I was able to exhale, because that's how strong she is.
Mhm.
So I tried to honor her, in the first issue of her. So if you guys, Dan, you probably have it. So there's an outfit that Sophronia, which is her real name, that she has on.
Mhm.
And so it's this she has a denim jacket, a black top, and she has this long, flowing white dress with blue flowers on it.
Mhm.
That dress is actually my sister's because I loved it on her, and it was
Nice.
so cool. And I was like, well, let me just do something, just to acknowledge, that there's a girl who gets on my nerves since in utero. Um, let me do something like this, So, you know, again, a lot of my influences, you're going to see, on the page. Like even in the first novel that I wrote, I actually, for those who read the book and those who know me, like I actually put my mom in one of the chapters. I just didn't give her a name.
Mm.
You know, I even dedicated, the first book to my mom.
Okay.
So, I always try to remember, where I came from, because that's going to keep me, focused when I keep on going. Like now, like we have, I did the novels. I'm working on the comic books. I'm actually in production now for her number two. So the next step would be what? Movies, television, something of that medium. That's in the works. That these are all things that I want to accomplish, before I die. When I do die, I want to die empty. I don't want anything left in me. I want to be able to say, you know what? I did what I came to do. This is my character. This is the world that she's a part of. And hopefully, there are more worlds, more creators who are inspired by what I do.
I love it. I love it. Where can people
And
buy the novel? Where because I do have the comic, like we said, but I don't think I read the novel, and I was actually just looking for something to take with me on a cruise to read. So where can people buy the her novel?
you can find her on Amazon.com.
There we go. I got
And
the link.
then you
I
can
was
buy
trying.
the second book, Gods and Monsters, on her. You can bundle it together.
I love it. I love it. I was trying to put the link in the chat, but it just didn't. My
Yeah,
my
you send
technology
it in the
wasn't.
private chat. Yeah.
I was I
You
was
see,
like I'm
you see
sending.
little angel?
Kyron doesn't give me control of the show for
I
good
can
reason.
see why. Yeah.
Fine.
Kyron
There.
doesn't give me control of the show, but
There. Happy?
there we go. Now we got it. Now we got it.
As they say in the South, bless your heart. Just
Bless
bless
y'all.
it.
For real. For real. No, I love it. I love it. Um. So yeah, and that was gonna be my next question. What was next for her? And I'm happy to see, that you're heading in the direction of doing movies and all kinds of stuff. So I love that. I love just the flexibility of the indie space. A lot of times, a lot of these people. I just did a interview with Jeremy Whitley not too long ago, and he's been writing My Little Pony, and he did Princeless for Action Lab and all this stuff. And because, like you said earlier, those characters don't belong to him, even though
Yeah.
he has ideas that he wants to do. There's so much red tape. There's so
Mhm.
much that he can't do because, these, characters belong to other people.
Yeah.
So it's tough, but at the same time, it's a good thing to be able to kind of dibble and dabble into
Mhm.
those worlds, but you don't have the freedom to do it like you would be able to do independently. If you could write, a mainstream character besides Storm, I know the answer is going to be Storm, but if you could write if you could write any mainstream characters, which ones would you have your eyes on?
But you know what? I wouldn't say there's a particular character. I would like to take a shot at doing a screen of a team book. So
Mhm.
that means yes, I want to do an X-Men lineup. Because
Mm,
there's so many X-Men that do not get enough shine.
Yeah.
Um, like Sync, he has
mm,
been more in the forefront within the last couple years,
yeah.
thanks to Hickman, reviving this dead mutant who'd been dead really since the year 2000. You
Mm,
know, he brought him back, and he made him. He was building up this character because you knew something was going to happen. So when he was trapped in the vault alongside X-23 slash Wolverine and Darwin, and they were stuck in there for months, even though like time passed differently in there,
Mhm.
and they came out, and it's like, so these X-Men, these three X-Men had the most experience than any of them combined for centuries to come. So I was happy that when they released the new X-Men book following the first gala, he was a member.
Mhm.
And it was okay. So you're not dropping the ball. And then recently when they had the mutant massacre at the Hellfire Gala last summer, the X-Men went underground, and he was their leader. It was the first time we have ever seen a black man lead the X-Men,
Mhm.
and this franchise it turned 60
Right.
last year. So
Well,
so
there's not really a lot of black male characters just in X-Men in general.
that's true, and that's why us as indies, that's why we have to do the representation.
Mhm.
If you guys remember when they were talking about the live action version of Little Mermaid, there was a lot of backlash. That's not my Little Mermaid. Da, 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 da. Well, Little Mermaid was not a ginger in the water anyway. If you want to go back to the original fairy tale where she actually dies at the end, but
Mhm.
of course, not your Ariel, because she's because the one that we have now is black.
Right.
But if you guys remember, there were a lot of reaction videos and of the little black girls watching it,
Mhm.
and
I
so
made one.
I mean, that's going
Danny
to be.
loved it.
See, even she agrees in the background, and she heard it.
Y'all can hear Olivia.
Yeah.
She said, "Yeah, Little Mermaid." And there was one reaction where this little girl saw it and she started crying, like, and that got me like, teary-eyed, because we
Mhm.
don't see positive depictions of us on the big screen. We don't see us as, thinkers. We're always like, the sidekick or the
Mhm.
best friend,
Or the
you know,
magical
or
Negro.
Harry Potter
We're
or
not
the
talking about that movie.
Negro.
We're
So,
not talking about that
yes,
movie.
so if I ever get the opportunity to write an X-Men book, um, even if it's only just for that like limited series, I would love to use him again. I love Marrow of the X-Men. She's one of my favorites.
Marrow's
Um,
up.
let's see who else. I love Shadowcat, but I'm good on her for now. Because she's
Yeah.
all over the place. Like, so notice, like, for the new books coming out, she's going to have her own book. Exceptional X-Men.
Okay.
It's going to be based in Chicago. She's pretty much training new mutants. But I'm
Okay.
like, man, last summer you was planting bombs in people's chests. You was breaking necks. You phased a gun into someone's head. But now
Hey,
that
but now we on the complete good side. Hey, I'm gonna teach the younger generation how to do it.
because that's what they're doing. Like, and so she's going to teach the new generation. But now she's a barista. Like, girl, if you don't get out of here,
I wanted to
Working
ask
at Starbucks.
you
yeah,
too, because we could have literally this whole episode could have been X-Men
Yeah.
oh yeah,
episode
you know how to
5.
get down.
This whole episode could have been, X-Men the animated series. I was gonna ask you, how do you feel about them taking so many different storylines and kind of a lot of people are saying that it's rushed.
It
A
is.
lot of
It
people are
feels a
saying
little rushed.
that they're jamming too many arcs into single episodes, But to me, I understand that they are kind of packing a lot of stuff in there, but they're hitting the high points to me. They're hitting the emotional points and they're hitting, they're getting the message across, And I wanted to ask, how do you feel about them taking so many different pieces and kind of putting them all in this one season?
So you know what, Danny, when it comes down to it, despite me being a little annoyed, I get it. There's so much material to pull from. Again, we have 60 years of X-Men stories that we cannot get through in a lifetime, especially with how networks like to cancel shows prematurely. So,
Mhm.
could a particular story deserve another episode or two to flesh it out more? Yeah, you could. That could be a subplot.
Mhm.
Like for instance, life death. which is one of the most important Storm stories ever.
Mhm.
I loved when Forge, ran into at the bar. She's
Mhm.
wearing her leather for the first time, in that universe for X-Men '97. That was incredible. Um, and then when we see them again, this is actually it was a life death part one. It's when we actually see the 10 minutes that we have with them.
Mhm.
Um, when he says I love you, and I'm like, I get that
Mhm.
there was
Yeah.
some time that had passed,
We didn't
but
see it though.
Yeah, it was like, yeah,
yeah. So yeah, that's why she slapped him. She took
yeah.
the shit out of him. Like, and I would have done the same thing. It's like you just met me last Wednesday. type thing. So but do I understand like you guys have a lot of things you got to cover?
Mhm.
And then I have to play devil's advocate. Now, the legacy virus, a lot of you old school X-Men fans may remember that. That was the lethal virus that could only attack mutants, and then later on it mutated to attacking humans. Now, if you guys remember, that storyline that went on for a couple years.
Yeah.
Like
Mhm.
I want to say that we started seeing uh, mention of it in 1994. When Wolverine, oh excuse me, when Cyclops and Jean got married,
Mhm.
and it didn't resolve itself until Colossus died in the year 2001. Like,
Mm.
so
Oh
we
yeah,
had
that's
some time,
Yep.
for it to kill, some, prominent mutants. But if you guys remember, in the original X-Men cartoon that ran from 1992 to 1997, they resolved that storyline within 2 episodes.
Mhm.
Remember, Cable came from the future, and they,
Yep.
used Wolverine's blood to kind of an antidote. So I get it, and from what we've seen so far, I love the fact that you could tell that a fan who has a true love for the source material is in charge. You
Mm.
know, even with this devastating episode that just passed on Wednesday,
Man.
Rose's dress, she
Mhm.
had that for their first date back in 1991.
Mm.
So you got to look at stuff like that.
The knowledge that he's just able to pull out like that is
Yeah.
just
I
ridiculous.
love it.
Yeah, I've been reading this shit for a long time,
I
so
love it.
But there's a difference between understanding the plot, remembering the plot, and understanding the details.
The references, like
yeah. I mean, listen, y'all. Like,
you could literally work on the show. Like you have
yeah.
so let me tell you what happened.
your brain.
Oh. Oh.
So this happened like not even like an hour before, before the show started. So I'm starting to get myself situated in Twitter. I love the discussions, regarding X-Men '97, yada yada yada.
Mhm.
So again, with me being a huge fan, with me, with me, with me being a huge fan of this, it's like, okay, we have the Genosha. Genosha came out what in 87, 88?
Mhm.
Uncanny X-Men, but in the 240s, and it was a thing until 2001, when New X-Men number 114 dropped. So for me, I'm like, okay, you guys did what you had to do with Genosha, right?
Mhm.
So next episode, what I'm expecting, I want to see Emma Frost in her diamond form, because that's where she has the genesis of her secondary mutation.
Mhm.
And I need to see Polaris, because I want to say New X-Men number 132 is when they did the 9/11 memorial issue, and they were actually returning back to Genosha since the destruction. That's when Polaris emerged from the debris, saying, "Oh, Daddy, I love you, Daddy, Daddy, Daddy." I want that
I
same
saw you
fucking
post about
scene.
that.
I want to see.
They're not gonna do it, man.
I want to see her screaming. I want to see the shrapnel pasties on her naughty bits, and I want her I want Storm and everybody trying to suppress. Let me stop. But yes, so if I don't get Polaris, I want to see Emma Frost,
Mhm.
become
Yeah.
the diamond hard white queen.
They were saying that there was some kind of teases to that in that last episode with the
There
glass.
was.
Mhm.
Yeah.
They were drinking, right?
Mhm.
Like maybe it was scotch or whatever. So Sebastian Shaw, he places the glass next to Emma, who's kind of out of the shot, and as Magneto's doing his little soliloquy, you see the ice starts to settle, and then it kind of rises in the cup next to Emma. So, but it's diamond cut ice. You have look at the shapes in it. When Emma first, because this is something they changed too over the years. When Emma first got that power, turning diamond hard, she still had a flesh tone to it. It was just a glossiness to it. It wasn't until a year or so later that they gave it more of a blue look.
Translucent.
So, are they going to do? So, does it matter which look they do? Not really, but just do the fucking look because I want to see it.
Just do it.
I just want to see it join the X-Men at the end of the season. I want to see Nightcrawler join the team. Come on now. And you notice like with each episode, they're changing the roster. In the intro.
The intro is changing. The dang they are playing. They do have the attention to detail, man. I'm enjoying it so far. That was that one episode, the Goblin Queen episode. I think that they went through it too. I think they did that too fast, but
rushed a lot.
But they hit, like I said, they hit the high notes of it, and now we got Madeline Pryor. So I'm happy with it so far. I cannot say that I'm not happy with it because I'm really enjoying it.
Thing. So I got to tell you, Danny. So when it comes to the Madeline Pryor thing, do I think it could have used like another episode to flesh her out? Yeah, but am I happy with it as well? Also, yeah. However, at the end of that episode, when she's leaving and Jean is like, "Okay, well, see you later, Jean." She's like, "My name is Madeline Pryor." That could have waited. You don't know your name yet,
right.
Let alone the last name. Where'd it come from? You just put it out of the air. No, what they should have done.
Out of nowhere.
What they should have done.
A chat GBT, a random name. That's how she did.
Like a name generator. But what I would have preferred is if when Rogue, Magneto, and Gambit arrived in Genosha and they met Madeline, and so when Rogue goes to say, "Hey, Jean," she's like, "No, I actually chose a name for myself."
Yeah,
I would have loved that.
Give us some time to have her think about it.
Hey, since they fired Bo, they need to get you to run season 2.
Oh, that's right. I keep on forgetting. Yeah. So this morning, I did the tweet about Polaris. Why did somebody tag Bo in my tweet? That's like, is he gonna respond?
Make it happen. He might. He been back online.
So very vocal lately. So I'm like,
you never know. Anyways, all right, man. We could do this all day, but we are running out of time. We got to get quick takes in here before we close the show. So, Kyron, are you ready for quick takes? Let's do it, man.
I am, but there was a question I want to get back to from Paige. Wanted to know if we're going to Urban NerdCon. So, are you guys going to Urban NerdCon?
I'm not going to be able to make it. I told people earlier this year I had a hernia, and I've been struggling with it, and I kind of canceled all of my out of state cons. So I'm trying to stay super local until the end of the summer. So I'm not going to be able to make Urban NerdCon this year, unfortunately. But I super wish that I could come. The next out of state show that I think I'm gonna do is Atlantic Comic Con, which is Greg Burnham's show. So, but that's way out in August. So hopefully, I'll be back to full speed by then, and we can make it happen. Mallory, are you gonna be there?
Probably not. So, the cons that I'm going to, there's always a must. I always do BlurCon because I do love meeting up, with Greg and my other friends. But in August, I had the pleasure of being a vendor, a guest author at the upcoming Atlanta Comic Con that Darren Flood and Greg Burnham is doing. Mm-hmm. So I am super excited about that. I'm trying to. Are you going to be at that one, Danny?
I will see you there.
Oh, beautiful. Kyron, are you going?
Not unless somebody wants to bring me with them.
I'm trying to put together a GoFundMe for Kyron's plane ticket, so we'll see.
Yeah, you have to do that.
Malachi, can I hop into your luggage and then you can bring me on?
I guess you could try.
All right. I've been losing weight, so it won't be as hard to pull me around.
Hey, we got Lagos, Nigeria in the building. We appreciate you. Thank you.
Yes, appreciate it indeed.
All
but yes, Dan, we hope you get better.
Yeah. Thank you. All right, let's get the quick taste. Let's do it, man. We up against it. We up against the clock. Let's get it. Yo, okay, so if you haven't seen the show before, Quick Takes is a rapid Q&A section where we grill our guests on their deepest, darkest secrets that I was able to find on the internet.
Oh God.
Fortunately, I wasn't able to find any on Mal because he's squeaky clean, as we all know. So, so we're just gonna ask him some questions to get to know him a little better. Okay, so we got 5 questions. You got 45 seconds each to answer each one. And you already answered the first one, so we'll just go into it and you just give us the answer again. All right. Question number 1. Why? No, you know what? Since I was gonna ask why Storm,
Wait,
I'm
no,
gonna
wait, what? No, don't be switching this. The last
yeah, I'm
moment.
gonna switch it now. The question was why Storm, but instead of why Storm, since you already answered that, I'm gonna say when. When Storm. Like when was the first time that you realized that you had this infatuation with the character Storm?
So it's gonna have to be when the first
Byron.
X-Men episode debuted. Um, she was the only black character on the team.
Hmm.
She had incredible hair. She had big shoulder pads, stiletto boots. Oh, I mean, what's not to love? And she's from Harlem.
Easy peasy. I love it.
Easy
I love it.
peasy.
Okay. All right. So question number 2. Like I said, man, you always been a bright spot in the indie community. I want to know indie friendships. Why have they been so important to you? Like I've seen and noticed that you're online and you really like to connect with people, and when you enjoy somebody, you support them and you share their work. So why are indie friendships important?
Well, because they're important because they help grow your business as well. And it's nice to have that fellowship. Like for instance, Greg, who is the creator of Is Nana. If I
Right.
didn't know Greg, I wouldn't have known Brian.
Mhm.
And I consider them both brothers to me. So, that alone, I will always value, the networking, the friendships that are built from our shared love for indie comics.
I love it. I love it. Great answer. All right. Question 3. So this is a question that we ask a lot of creators, and a lot of people have been on my side with this one. I'm curious to what you're gonna say.
Let's let Brian in the comment section. Go ahead.
So big cons or small shows. All right, we got the big cons where like in NC Comic. I mean, what is it? New York Comic Con. SDCC, and then you got small local shows. Big cons or small shows. Which one do you prefer and why?
Honestly, I'm for the small shows. They're more intimate. You're able to connect better with the client. You're able to speak more with your colleagues. When you're at the big shows, you kind of feel kind of lost,
Mhm.
and it seems like a very I don't know. It feels kind of fake in some ways. Like there's no true like connection,
Mhm.
and it feels more about capitalism as opposed to the small shows.
I'm with you on that. I just realized this last time I've been doing shows for 10 years now almost, and I just realized this last show I'm just not good at like the capitalism part of it. I'm not good
Yeah,
at like trying to make in at the big shows. I have to sell you have to sell a lot of books in order to make it worth it, and I'm just not good at that part. I'm not good at the being in front of somebody and saying and trying to convince them to buy my book. I would rather just have a conversation with you, and then if
yep.
you're interested in it, do what you got to
That's
do. If
my
not,
approach too.
yeah, yeah. So, I'm with you on that. Small shows for me too. All right. Question number 4. Um, we're all, with the Epiphany engine coming out and us doing more projects and trying to be more consistent. Um, what do you think it's gonna take for us as indies to get to the next level?
That's a loaded question. Again, like piggyback into the previous answer, it's going to take fellowship, and I know it sounds very cliche and just like okay, it's very surface level, but it's going to take us getting past our egos and us, actually listening to each other and hearing each other, in terms of ideas being shared. But there's a lot of deceit I'm
Mhm.
noticing, with certain people, and like a rotten apple, can spoil the batch in some cases.
Unfortunately, yep.
Yeah.
We've all heard the stories, and
Oh yeah.
we've all seen things that happen, and it's hard. Like I have this thing, I want to support.
Sorry.
You're so
Brian.
distracted in the comments.
Brian, we need to get Brian on the show. We need to
Like seriously.
get back on the show. Terrible. But yeah, that's a great answer. That's a great answer. Okay, so question number 5. We have for question 5, we always get everybody to do a top 5 list off the top of their head. Because we have another show called Top 5 Live that we do on Tuesday nights, where we do a top 5 list, and talk about.
Wait. He already did this question.
He really did.
Yeah.
He already answered this question, but
Oh my god.
we're gonna get him to rank it. We're gonna get him to rank his
geez.
top 5 X-Men characters 5 to 1, not including Storm. So
And you only have 45 seconds.
in 45 seconds, 5, 4, 3, 2, and then number 1, not including Storm.
Okay. So Nightcrawler,
Mhm.
Marrow,
Yep.
Colossus,
Seconds.
Colossus. All right. Is Sync gonna be 2 or 1?
Bishop,
Bishop. Okay.
and
15
I
seconds.
don't know. Who's another one I could throw in there? Did I already say Shadowcat?
No, you didn't.
You did.
Yeah, we could throw in that half in there.
I thought you were gonna
Wait, what happened to Sync though?
I thought you were gonna put Sync at 1.
Sync.
Sync
Yeah,
at
Sync.
1.
Sync just got kicked to the curb. That's cold.
I mean,
For Shadowcat. Oh, terrible. Okay, no, that's a great list. That's a great list. No, we appreciate you doing that for us, Mal. Like I said, we're up against the clock, but thank you for doing quick takes this week. Sponsored by Old Spice.
and how you be funky out here?
Whoa. Yo, have you ever seen the video of how they used to make those Old Spice commercials with the black dude?
Yeah.
No, that was wild. Like they would build the entire room and just have him stand there, and they would move the room around him to make
I
those
remember.
shots.
Oh, the
Remember Joe Boxer when he was start dancing?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, that guy. Yeah. I can't remember his name. He was.
He gone now. I don't know where he at.
All right, Malachi. Like Dan said, we are way beyond time, but we appreciate you being on.
It's been a
We
pleasure,
really do
guys.
need to do like a whole. Maybe at the end of the X-Men season, we should just do a whole X-Men '97 recap.
Yeah.
Episode.
And if we do that, I will come wearing my Storm costume.
There we go. There we go. There we go.
There we go. I'm gonna wear my Namor costume then.
We'll find me a Sync onesie and make it happen.
All right. We want to make sure though that people follow you and check out your work. So where can people check you out on social media, and where can people buy your books?
Yes, so you can purchase her and Her Gods and Monsters on Amazon.com. You can follow me on social media, Mal_the_writer. That's on Instagram, and it's pretty much the same for Twitter. I do have a fan page on Facebook. That's my full name, Malachi Bailey. I want to say that's it. Yeah.
Okay. We can't buy your comics anywhere.
Oh yeah, my comic books. So here's the thing with that. I don't have it on the website, for winglessent.com, but I'm doing a Kickstarter. Hopefully, either at the earliest this summer or by the end of the year, and also just get number 1 included.
Okay. All right.
Yeah.
All right. Danny, where can people check you out?
Y'all know the best place to find me is on my website, fourthwallpros.com. And if you want to find me on social media, it's at the Ace Blade on all social media platforms. Kyron, where can people like the beam?
Well, apparently, we can't like the beam no more. It's just, damn it. Some bullshit. Sorry, Sacro Kings, I love y'all, but y'all are killing me this year. But you can check out my books at tauruscomics.com. I am on all social platforms at Taurus Comics. And this is your first time checking out our podcast, you can go to our website and listen to our previous episode, that is the fourtalespodcast.com. That is the number 4, TALES podcast.com. Please, though, come back next week where we're going to have Andre Owens from Hero Unlimited. No, what is he? Hero Comics, I think it is. I think that's the name of his series.
Hero Comics, yep.
Yeah. He's going to be on the show. Another person that I got to meet at this past February, actually, now I think about it. Yeah. He was there too. Yeah, he was there, wasn't he?
Mm-hmm. I believe so.
Yeah. So, I mean, we're just having a good time. But until next time, sayonara, goodbye, and everyone, please take care of yourselves.
I want to know what it is Quick is trying to say.